Grateful that you're all joining us this evening. We're joined by Karina LeBlanc, Thorns FC GM, and new Thorns FC head coach, Rhian Wilkinson. So just want to give you guys a chance to just start off. Anything you want to say to the fans that we have here for our town hall?
Hi, Katie. Is it my turn?
Yeah, if you want to go for it.
I always want to go. So hi, everyone. Welcome. Thank you for joining us tonight. We're here with our lovely banner, but most importantly, we're here with you. We wish we could be in person soon enough, but I think for us, we were excited to have this conversation with you. That's how we're seeing it, as a conversation. You guys can ask us questions. I'll ask Rhian some questions. She might ask me some questions. She has no idea what I'm going to ask her, which is fun. She looks a little nervous. As you may have seen in the press conference, I like to sometimes make her a little nervous with some of the questions I'm asking. So if you keep them flowing, so will I. But we just want you to feel like you're here having a cup of tea with us, and we can cheers and we can toast. But most importantly, we are so excited to be here to get the season started. We've just come from Bend, which is gorgeous, by the way. We did some culture work there. Rhian led the team with, our identity. And what was the big takeaways from Bend?
Well, the biggest takeaways from the preseason trip were really just getting to know each other. I think the players also really enjoyed that we were away, so had meals together, obviously trained together, had sort of the cultural foundation or framework was set in place. So that for me was amazing, and I'm so glad we got that sort of send off to the season. I think it was really important.
Yeah, and I think from my perspective, it was just great to be around the team. I think they were buzzing. It's been an off season, and we both remember as players what it's like to get that preseason, like the little jitters out, but then play. So from my perspective, it was just great to be in that environment and be around the players who are so excited to be Thorns and whatnot. So from our perspective, I mean, it was a win. And then this week has been a little bit of sunshine, as you all know, which has been great. But yeah, how's it been this week?
This week's been great. We've obviously, a lot of our international players are away representing their countries. It's we've been nonstop. We're either training or we're watching the international games. So I've got a lot being recorded right now. But it does mean that we get to have a smaller group on the field, work a lot of more individual stuff. So it's been nice. There's always there's like two different elements we've had. So the whole group in real preseason, real culture work, and then a FIFA window. And then there's a smaller group. We can actually get into some of the nitty gritty, some of the individual development work. So it's been a lot of fun. Yeah.
Just so you know, I'm wearing my Thorns scarf, and she's wearing Canada. We were talking about it. I think it's because Canada just beat USA in the hockey. Sorry, did I say that? Oops, sorry. But no, I mean, Katie, you can take it away with the questions. I think I'm doing your job here. I just want everybody to know we wish you were here so we could go towards this conversation and give hugs and really get excited about the season that's about to come. So Katie, I can pass it over to you, or I can just keep doing this. You let me know.
I mean, I think I'll ask you some questions because I think you have some pretty good ones already that people have submitted. So you guys were talking a little bit about the team's preseason trip to Bend. And as some people may have seen on social media, the group had a little go-kart outing. So Jacob would like to know, I don't know if you guys saw this, Hubley made a TikTok where she went around asking all the players who was going to be, was it the best or the worst at go-karting? I can't remember. Who was going to be the best at go-karting and who was going to be the worst at go-karting. And what came away from the video, the Kelly Hubley TikTok, was that everyone thought Rocky was going to be very bad at go-karting. So the question from Jacob was Rocky as bad as at go-karting as was predicted by the team?
You know who was worse? That one was worse. Yeah.
I didn't race Rocky directly. Actually, Rocky was really good. I think she came second in her group. I put all my money on Karina being the worst. And then she went and beat me. I was second to last in my section and she came first. So I'm still living that down, unfortunately.
Yes, I'm a little bit competitive, and I think I came first in the group and you came second to last.
Yeah.
But Rocky was not the worst. I think she really enjoyed it, and I think it was a great opportunity for us to get away from the environment and have fun. It was your idea. I mean, it was Laura's idea, but your idea.
Wasn't my idea. I thought I wanted to do something fun, and then Laura Doran brought it to the table as an option, and I thought I can't be the one who sanctions go-karting, but ended up being a really great activity. I saw a new side to Becky Sauerbrunn. Yeah.
Intense, not really a new side, but she
No, a new side, because she was driving, and I felt, yeah, she was cling. Like, we already knew they were competitors, but they all turned into like Mario Andretti. It was pretty impressive and also terrifying.
So Becky ended up being my MVP because the first lap I wasn't good, and she said, try using the brakes. And I used the brakes on the corners and I ended up winning. So Becky,
Also,
Sauerbrunn.
how she created a pileup behind her.
Yeah.
Don't break on corners.
Next
Well,
question, Katie.
Yeah, hey, I felt like that was a great topic and relevant subject to start on, with you guys talking a little bit about Ben. So this is a question I think probably both of you can answer. This is from Luke Fritz. He wants to know your favorite memory from playing for the Thorns.
I had a very short time, unfortunately, playing for the Thorns. Definitely meeting Nadine was a huge gift. I was injured almost the entire time I was here. Some of the teammates, the friendships I made were obviously huge, but Nadine ended up becoming a really, really good friend, as well as her partner Magda. So I think if I look at what I was able to do during that short time I was here, it was to create some really meaningful friendships, and they've continued. So I'm really lucky about that.
Mine was winning a championship. Yeah, I think it was, just truly special, the inaugural season. Just like what Rhian talked about, it's the friendships that are here for a lifetime. But I think walking out on game day, I mean, hearing the crowd, hearing the songs, hearing the drum beats, and just everybody being alive on game day. And I think as athletes, that's what you dream of. And this is a city that just shows up in different ways for the athletes, where it's like, it's loud, it's like a dream, it's better than a dream. And I'll never forget the game days, and just the noise and how you feel in this environment. I think that's what it was the best, easily my best professional season because of all of you. So yeah, the best part is you and game day and winning a championship.
I like it. All right, this question is for Rhian. Richard would like to know a little bit how you expect or think you might use Sync on the field. Do you see her as a target forward or perhaps in another position?
Yeah, I think I've seen her used by Mark in a few different positions. I think the gift that is Christine, that sounds weird, Sync, is that she can play across a few different positions. I've tried her as sort of a false nine, and I am really liking her there, but absolutely someone you can also play up front with a partner. So she can play in those pockets of space where there really are very few people in the world who have the close control that she has, and her ability to see the game and play critical passes is still really top in the game. So yeah, there's a few, definitely trying to give you a full message, but I've played her in a few different positions, and it's not just where I put her, but where I put those around her to really get out the best in this team.
All right, KK, you want to add anything about Sync? I don't know. I have no idea. You're always welcome to jump in.
You asking the GM technicals?
No, I'm saying I just don't want her to think we're like to.
I won't feel left out.
Canadians.
Don't worry. Never. But I think what Sinclair brings to this organization and the game is she's a legacy leaver, and she does that every time on the field. I think having her back in, you can see what she brings to the field. So the technical expert part, I'll always leave to Rhian, but I think just what she brings to this club in the community as a leader is phenomenal. And so I'm looking forward to seeing her grow as well as the entire team.
Awesome. Jacob wanted to know when Hina might be arriving. And if she's here, and if she's not here, when we might expect her in Portland.
Great question, Jacob. So we're going through the visa process right now. So we're hoping, I mean, I think it's best to lower expectations. We're hoping at some point this season. But no, I think it's just the process of the visas and getting her in. She's so keen to be here. You've had a recent conversation with her. You can elaborate a bit more on who she is as a person, but this is a player that's very excited to come into this team and be a part of this community. And we're all counting the days down, but I think it comes down to the visa process, which we're trying our best to make that happen quicker.
Yeah, Hina gave me a call the other day. First, I was thrilled that she felt comfortable just giving me a WhatsApp call. She called in the middle of the Super Bowl, so that was I was like, oh, okay. So I got a quiet corner. She's a lovely young lady. I look forward to having her here. We're working through an interpreter. So right now, Hina is not fully fluent, and I'm being generous. She's definitely really at the beginning of learning English. But I know the club and Karina have done a wonderful job setting up, obviously, interpreters. That's the easy fix, but also some English courses, as well as different ways to introduce her to the Japanese community in this area so that she feels really welcomed, not just by us directly as the club, but actually by the community at large. So I know that the work that's being put into making sure that when Hina does arrive on the soil here in Portland, she's going to feel really welcomed and really the love from us and our fan base.
And it's been exciting to see different people want to step up and help her feel comfortable in this environment. You know, we talked about, you know, the Japanese culture, like one of the things she wants to be here for, as she talked about, was the ability to grow as a person. And the response we've gotten from you as fans is incredible. And she's been hearing about that, and she's really excited to come here. So as much as you want her to be here, we want her to be here, and so does she.
All right, we've got a couple questions kind of asking about the midfield. A couple different people have kind of specifically asked about Lindsay and her absence, and how what your approach is to kind of plugging the holes with Lindsay's absence. And in addition, do you see Olivia as someone who can potentially step into a larger role this season?
Yeah, thanks. I'll let Karina answer in a second about some of the details. Obviously, Lindsay is a huge loss. Like, I don't think we can say anything different. Wonderful character, as well as a phenomenal player that any coach would want to have out on the field. Her wish was to play in France for a little bit, and I do really appreciate how hard the club works to make sure these athletes are seen and heard, and to try and support them as best they can. As a coach, you know, I wish she'd wanted to be here next season, but I do understand that it was a bigger story that Karina can maybe speak to from my end, and how I've been speaking to the players as well as to the club and to the fans. Is I'm really excited by what we have. Obviously, Lindsay's a loss. I would never say anything different, but the talent we have, you know, some of our draftees that have come in and how they're performing. I know we're going to have a very strong midfield. It's going to animate a little bit differently because of Lindsay's abilities, but also her size. So there's definitely, we're going to lose some height definitely at this time. But the ball players, the skill we have there, ability to get past players, but also to move the ball, is pretty exciting. And so when you say plug the holes, I think there were people waiting in the wings when Lindsay was already here, and her not being here has really given opportunity to players that have really stepped up and are performing very well right now in preseason.
Yeah, and I'd just add to that, I think Lindsay's made it very clear that this is her home and this is where she's going to come back to. So we will have her back. And I think, as Rhian said, she's such a great player. But we've had people waiting for the opportunity to rise, and I think that's what they've done. And I think this is the culture we've created, is that, you know, we're a strong team from top to bottom. And every player's been waiting for this opportunity. We remember as players waiting for that opportunity to play. So there's some players ready to step up, and that's what's going to be exciting about the season, is that you're going to see new players do new things in new positions, and that's what professional sports is about.
All right, Karina, this question is for you. It's from Ed. He would like to know what has been the biggest challenge for you so far as you've moved into a GM role, and how has your background prepared you for this role?
Hi, Ed. Good question. I think everything in life prepares you for the next step. And I think obviously my background as a player has made me, I remember walking into the room and the players, like that loud woo, made me understand and feel like I was exactly where I was meant to be doing, exactly what I was meant to be doing. I mean, I think it's just been an interesting off season. I mean, we've had 2 expansion teams. We had a draft. We've had CBAs, which I'm excited about. Let's give a round of applause for the CBAs. But it's just adjusting it and just trying to continue to be my authentic self in all of this. And I think what excites me is that the direction we're going as a club. I think there's a vision clarity of who we want to be. Rhian has done such an excellent job of helping the team find their identity and who do we want people to say that we are, and what do we want them to feel about the characters of these players. But most importantly, I think I'm really excited about the impact that I think the 2 of us can have in moving this club in a direction where we're hopefully the most connected club globally. And I think that's part of what my background's brought here. But I think everything's just prepared me for this, and I'm looking forward to just being around the players. I think that's what we said on the first day of preseason. You step on the field and you're like, wow, you're around a connected group of individuals who are inspired on something bigger than themselves. And I mean, when that's your job every single day, I feel very blessed in that position.
All right, this question also is for you, Karina. Aaron would like to know if Gavin is your boss and you report to Gavin, and what capacity are you working with Gavin? What is your role with him?
So Merritt is my boss. So I report to Merritt, but I think if you know anything about me, before I came into this position, there's a lot of questions I think we both asked coming in. And with Gavin's experience, I wanted to work with him to learn things from him. So my work with Gavin has been on a one-on-one basis. I think it's been important for me to understand the role, to understand contracts, to understand a lot of things that I think from the outside perspective, you don't know. So I've been able to work with Gavin, and it's been a good experience for me because he's been very open in letting me see the different ways that the league works, letting me understand the different ways of the nuances of contracts and so many different things. So I report to Merritt, and yes, I am working with Gavin, and it's been beneficial for me.
All right, we will, I think we had a question from, I don't know who this question is from in particular, but this would be for you, I think, Rhian. Is there any players or anyone who's kind of impressed you or stood out in preseason so far?
Well, a lot. I've really been very impressed with a lot of the players. I think that we have some incredible international talent on the team, and those are the better known names in many ways. But the foundation of this team is made up of incredibly high character people who really deliver on the field. So this training camp, I think, just like the Megan Nallys, the Pogarch, the Marissa Everett's, Yasmin Ryan, like these players are coming up. Their talent is exciting. We've had Sam Coffey come in, Gabby and Natalie as well. These young people who have managed to slot right into the team straight away. I always find that really indicative of a team's culture when new people can come in and how quickly they're embraced and given space to show what they can do. And it's not this is my space sort of protectiveness. It's actual adoption of the person and then allowing them the opportunity to grow into it and then perform to see where they're at. And they've really done a great job just hitting the ground running, asking questions, creating friendships, building the foundation piece, which is what preseason is. And it has to be done quickly. If you've ever been part of a high performance team sport, foundational pieces are critical, but you are not given much time to do it. So it has to be based on trust. And that's hard to do. Like it's always hard to trust someone straight off the bat. There's always a piece that you're holding back, but I really haven't seen this with this group. They've been very welcoming to the new faces, but also to myself and to new staff that have arrived.
All right, let's go to Dwayne Wenger was asking about Crystal Dunn and how she's doing, and maybe if you guys have an idea of when we might see her back out playing on the field in a Thorns jersey.
I'm just going to say she's phenomenal. Being a new mama myself, when I was that pregnant, I was not doing what Crystal's doing. She's phenomenal character person. She's brought just a different part and energy to the team. And if you ask me how she's doing as a woman who gave birth 2 years ago, she's phenomenal. That's all I have to say. But let's talk more of.
Yeah, she's slowed down a little bit. Crystal is here every day. She's here on time. She does all her preparation like she's going to train. She sits in every meeting, has a real leadership role within the team, like a very strong voice that is also very welcoming. This is a leader-full team, and she's a big piece of that. Our session pieces, she's part of every part of session that's non-contact. So today she was out there for an hour. I also have started including her in some of the sort of coaching elements, like making sure she's watching some of the younger players or players in her position so she can start giving feedback, and she's very good at it. Slightly worried for my job. I'm glad I got an audience here, but in terms of her coming back, I think that there's still a lot of research to be done on this. And obviously her husband is on our staff and is a major part of the medical team for the Thorns. And I have spoken to him very honestly and candidly about being really careful with timelines. Crystal's probably the hardest on herself. She wants to be back sort of a week after giving birth. It's how we do it healthily. How, of course, we bring her along as quickly as possible, but also number one, looking after her and her body as well as the newborn that will be here. So I think there's a lot of elements that come into play, and I'm hesitant to put a timeline on that at this time.
Thank you.
One thing just to highlight is as Rhian is talking about, is the culture in this team, and she's adding every single day to this environment. Is healthily a word? You said healthily. We're gonna have somebody need to check that. You said healthily. I have to ask that question. But I just want to highlight this group is so strong and so committed and dedicated to something bigger than themselves. And you see that every single day in what Crystal does on the field. Like Rhian said, she's in the meeting, she has her opinions, and she's leading in a different way. And I think it's phenomenal to see that. And you probably don't get to see that. So just wanted to highlight that. Healthily is a word I've been told.
I eat healthily.
Healthily. I'm not sure. I'll have to check that one a little bit later and get back to both of you.
It's not a word.
I'm gonna stick with it until proven otherwise.
Kyle Jones is wondering, with the season or competitive matches being just about a month away, are there any outstanding needs on the roster that need to be addressed? Do you feel like you need to add any pieces, anything along those lines?
Yeah, as I said, I think we've got a very strong squad. We also have the realities of international windows. So in terms of urgent needs, no, we don't. In terms of getting new faces in and some more depth, absolutely something we're continuing to work on, and I'll let Karina answer in a second. But I feel very strongly that we've got a good team here who are going to perform very well this season. But I don't think the roster's fully finished.
Yeah, I would say, I don't want to give out secrets, but we're looking to fill in a couple spots that hopefully we can, I don't know, how much do we tell her? Is this open to the public, or is this just our family? I think we're the Thorns. We're always looking to strive to be better, to find ways to make this team better than it is, but also recognizing the greatness that is here already. So we're always looking, but only for the right person. And I say person because it's more than just what they do on the field. I mean, you can score 50 goals and not be a person who's going to walk into this locker room and add to it, and you're not the right fit for a Thorn. So I think for us, we're looking for the right player and the right person who, no matter what they do day in or day out, in their best day or their worst day, they walk into this locker room and they add to this group. Because I think what's happening here is it's a tight-knit group. They're phenomenal people, as you all know. So I think for us, it's beyond just what they do on the field. It's who they as people, how they'll add to our community and how they'll add to our family.
All right. And I don't, either of you can take this, or you can both share on this question. What are you willing to share regarding what happened with Sydney Nasello and when the Thorns drafted her?
Yeah, I mean, I was hoping this would come up because I hope that I've spoken clearly about it in the past, but just so everything's laid out right now. Jumped right into my first draft. She was outside where I felt we would be getting our picks. She fell very quickly. We predicted she'd go higher. When I saw that, I made some phone calls. I talked to a lot of people and nothing was raised. And definitely a big learning for me. I'm not an active user of social media, and all of a sudden that's become huge in my life. And it's the reality that this young woman's views were not aligned to not only the club, but also mine and Karina's. So everything happened very quickly after her draft. It was a time where I felt proper process had to be put into place. So I was really glad we didn't just react quickly to something and took our time to try and fix an error on my part. And I appreciated the support I got while I did my due diligence afterwards. It was definitely an oversight, a major oversight on my part in terms of not making sure I knew the full person, and that I frankly trusted people a little too much in some of my preparation for how I chose the players. And it was a harsh start for me as the head coach. And again, full transparency with my staff and players through the process of it. And again, appreciated that they gave me the time to do the due diligence, to put my process into place after it had happened, and then to act accordingly when I felt like I knew all the information. Yeah.
And I'm going to take back that point because I thought it was going to be a lighter question. And I think that was our first fight because she wanted to put up her hand, but I want to put up my hand. And I think this is what you'll find about us, is that we'll take accountability. I was like, no, you're not taking the blame for, I will. I think one of the things you'll see, and you heard from Rhian, is the transparency in the process. And what we know what it means to be a Thorn. Like, we really do. We know what it means to the community. We know what it means to the locker room. We know what it means to the organization. And she wasn't the right fit. And will we make more mistakes in the future? I hate to say it, we might, but I don't want Rhian to take the blame for this, because I think at the end of the day, we've learned through it. We know our processes. We're new to this position in some ways, but at the same time, I just want to make sure in front of this that she's not sitting there saying it was her fault. And one of the things is that was our first fight. I was like, why did you do that? But I think what you'll see with us is how we are here is how we want to be with you, how we want to be with the players. And we went through the process to make sure that the players were across it immediately. And, it's about processes, and we'll be better next time.
Appreciate you guys answering that question.
Thanks for asking the question.
Yeah. This person didn't identify themselves, but they said, love you guys, cannot wait for the season. Can you address some of the mistrust that has occurred over the past year, and how you will bridge the gap with supporters to rebuild that trust?
Yeah, obviously there's been a lot that's happened in the last, well, much more than a year. It's like a year and a half now. I think consistency of character for us, just making sure that we, again, everything Karina said about being as transparent, authentic, but also consistent for the team. So the team has been on a real journey, sounds diminishing, of something that's much bigger. There's been real issues that have arisen through the NWSL in the last year. And again, we can't hide from it. In fact, I think this is a moment in time where we get the opportunity to to fix some wrongs that have been just universal. Unfortunately, it's everywhere, and it's not just in women's sports, and it's not just in the NWSL. I've worked in other countries, and it's got to be better. And now we have the opportunity to come here to be consistent of character, really professional in how we do things, and to protect the players, to just let them play. And this is why as little girls, they chose to play. They wanted to be professional players, and they've had to become advocates for something much, much bigger in the last year and a bit. And from my point of view and from what I've expressed to them, my goal is to make sure that they can just play the game they love, and to keep this game precious to the fans, this community, but also the NWSL, because it's something that we fought our whole careers to have, is the professional game. And it's been really rocked, and we, again, can't hide from that. But it's also why I wanted to come here, not just Portland, but why I want to coach in the NWSL, and why I want soccer to survive in North America and be a world leader in this now. Because it's not just here. I think this is one thing, like there's fingers pointing at the US. It is everywhere, unfortunately, and it pains me to say it. So now we get to be a part of fixing it and making a safe environment for these young women and women to play the game they love, and to be the ambassadors for the game that they are every day.
And I'll just add to that. I think, like, when you think of the word legacy, when we played, we wanted to leave the game better than when we were in it. And for me, how I ended up here, I think I said it when I first came on board, is that in this pandemic, I gave birth to my daughter. I almost died a week later when I had heart failure, and I had a hard reality check with myself, and I wanted to do things that mattered. And you're looking at two former players here who've played for this club, we've played for our country. This game is a big part of who we are as individuals. And the reason I came here is because this is the club that can set that global standard, and we have vision clarity on that. And we know what's happened in the past, but we are vision clear of where we want to go in the future. And the players, I think, and we'll have to earn your trust. The players are in the same situation as us in terms of like understanding who we are. But over time, you'll see that when we say things, it's not just to say things. We believe it. We live it every single day. We have the hard conversations of like, what can we do better? What can we change? What, like all these things where over time you'll see when we say this, or when at least I say this, is that I came here to hopefully impact for the better. And I came here to lead the way, to do things in a different way where you understand and trust is earned, but you start to really believe us when we sit up here and say, we know that this club can set that global standard. We believe in this club. We believe in the people around here. We've asked the hard questions. But at the same time, we know that you have to start to believe us too. And I hope at some point you all start to understand that, like, that connection and what makes this club so special is you. And we are on a journey. It's been a difficult past, but the future, if we come in and we stay connected and we do this together and we start really understanding, like Rhian said, so the players can play, so they can step out on the field and feel that vibe and that energy that I talked about at the beginning. But most importantly, that we set that standard globally. And I think we say that, but over time, you'll see what we mean. But yeah, trust is earned over time. And hopefully you understand and you see that we're not just saying that, we mean it.
We're just going to ask one more kind of follow up in regards to kind of the stuff you've been talking about and everything that's been going on with the club. What can you guys say about how the Thorns handled the Paul Riley situation back in 2015?
Yeah, I mean, neither of us were here. So I think we need to start with that premise. Like this era of us arriving was after a lot of this had already come out. There was a lot going on. I was on the team in 2015. I played under Paul Riley. I want to be, again, honest about that. I was unaware of what was going on, which I think a lot of women are going through the same thing I had to go through, which was like, what part did I play in not seeing, or did I see like what happened? So there's a processing piece to first all the players that were here during that time. And this like weird guilt piece. And I think that's what's really come up really loud and clear through this, is that there's a lot that's been going on that we've kind of turned a blind eye to, and there's been real victims who we have to always remember. I think I'm trying to, like, I know there's like legal elements right now. I think what I'd like to reiterate what Karina said is that all I have here is my name and reputation. And like Karina is much better known than I am. Like I was player for a long time, and then I've been working through my coaching badges and coaching and abroad, and I've come here and I have this, just my name, right? And I did my due diligence before I came here. I've read the reports, I've spoken to lawyers, I've spoken to the women on the team, and I've spoken to the people in this club, and I wouldn't have come if I didn't feel completely confident that everything was done as best as possible. And then there's the legal piece here where I have to be careful not to disclose too much, but that's all I can really say, is that I would never put my name to an organization that I didn't feel that had, again, I wouldn't be here if I didn't believe in this club.
And I'll add to that, I wouldn't be here either if I didn't believe in this club. There's things we can't say. And I think this was what makes it hard, because there's 2 other investigations and there's a due process that needs to go through. So we're sitting here, but we can't tell you some of the things we know. We wouldn't be here if it wasn't personal to us. We are women who are driven by something greater than ourselves. We are women who want to see change for the better. We're women who recognize that there's real victims in this that have been hurt. And there's also, we're in the locker room. We're here where the players have hurt themselves too. And I think at the end of the day, over time, you'll come to see some of what we know. But when Rhian says it's her name, it's also my name. It's also our reputation. And we're trying to hope that you all see us being as candid as we are, being as authentic as we are, being as real as we are, saying like, we hope we can be part of us moving forward as an organization. Because to be a Thorn, to be a fan of a Thorn, to be within this family of what we have is so truly special. And that's what's brought us back, because we're like, how, and I keep saying this, how can we lead the way forward? How can we lead with standards? How can we lead with you? Because we understand that you've been hurt in this as well. I mean, I think we all have, but all we can say is that we believe in this organization. We're here for a reason, and we want to move forward in a way where we're not just saying, we recognize what's happened and that's part of it, but now let's try to get through this and all be better. And I don't want to say because of it, but all be better in how we move forward and being mindful and cognizant of what's happened, and be respectful in the way, even though we can't say everything we know, we just need to say like, yeah, what am I trying to say?
I think we're really looking forward to making sure that the investigations that are ongoing are finished soon, and that we can be more transparent, and this like legal piece can be put behind us, and we can just put everything out on the table. So really looking forward for the investigations to be done and to be made public.
This isn't easy, just so you know. Like, I'm just saying, like, this isn't easy because we want to open ourselves up and be like, what do you need to know so that you can feel what we feel? This is, you know, it's hard in some aspects, but that's why, I mean, I walked into this job, and I think you took this job knowing that this was part of it. But we're willing to go through this with you, so that you know that when we break through in a way and take this club forward in different ways, we're all on the same page that this can be the best club in the world. And it's not, we're not going to do it on our own. The players aren't going to do it on our own, but we can do this together.
Thank you guys for answering that and really going in depth and really sharing your thoughts and feelings there. John Laws would like to know, and I think I've seen a couple of people ask this particular question in the chat as well. Any particular reason why we haven't had a lot of non-roster invitees in preseason camp?
Yeah, I think part of it is me just figuring out the landscape with COVID as well. And I think that wasn't just me, it's the club. It's like how we've used in the past host families, and now with the CBA, there's a lot of elements that weren't fully understood yet. And so I chose to keep things a little bit smaller just till we understood, because I didn't want to have extra people we couldn't look after properly. And when we couldn't look after the team properly with COVID being sort of Omicron arrived, there was a lot of new sort of elements that sort of all arrived at once. So that was a choice, and one that obviously I have to work around now as we get closer to season, as maybe COVID guidelines begin to loosen. Although I would say, and I'm very proud of the fact the club is still strict on it. We have been tested this morning. We have our masks now. We're making sure we're still keeping our players safe as much as possible. But that was part of the decision that I made.
Thank you, Rhian. James Williams would like to know, or he's wondering if you have any insights yet into what Morgan Weaver's role might look like this season.
She's been a lot of fun to get to know. I love getting to know Morgan better. Such a light, bright energy at trading. A pure athlete, just incredible, phenomenal athlete. Just she tracks things down. She overtook a 15-year-old boy the other day, just like he was as surprised as anyone. I think she's becoming a student of the game. That's something I'm very passionate about. The game is like a chess. It's like a chess game, right? Everything's for a reason. And she's asking these wonderful questions. How I see her role is I think she'll be playing a bigger and bigger part as we move forward. She's still developing. I think we have to remember that she has still got a lot to learn. And even in that, she's performing at an incredibly high level. So we'll be working to put together her individual performance plan and set her goals for the season and help support her in reaching them, but also pushing her and making sure that she's also growing as an athlete and understanding of the game, because she's got a long and exciting career ahead of her.
And I'd add to that too. She's an incredible baker. And I know some people probably want to know some of these things about the players. An incredible human being, but her banana bread
should have had chocolate chips, though, shouldn't it? What's banana bread without chocolate?
I disagree. Her banana bread, maybe we should have like a Morgan Weaver banana bread taste. Yeah. It's just great. Everyone could taste it. It's phenomenal.
We can healthily try it.
Healthily.
That is a word I've had.
I know it's a word.
Two people have confirmed that healthily is an adverb. So thank you to the folks.
Of course it is, Katie.
Hey, that's what they said. So
It's true. I don't want to.
All right, everyone.
I'm team chocolate chips and banana bread. So as the roster has kind of been developing in this off season, I've seen people actually chatting about this online, and somebody asked this question about, especially with the Federation players no longer being a thing, no longer having allocated player status for US players. What is the status of Sophia Smith and her contract? You are Sophia Smith.
So the question is, what is the status of her contract?
Yeah, is Sophia Smith signed? I think that, yeah. She is.
Is your answer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean, obviously Sophia is a phenomenal player, and we can talk about her as a player, but we see her as an important piece of the puzzle here now and in the future. So I don't think we need to necessarily worry about Sophia Smith. I'm not sure if that's the question. But yeah, we're good.
I'm so excited about a lot of these players, but Sophia did a lot of research on her when I was interviewing for this job, because I was so excited about the gaps that I felt I could close in her game. Just really looking forward to watching her become an even more impactful goal scorer for this group, and also to develop her real understanding of the game. There was an earlier question about sync and where I see her playing. Part of what she also does, and on the field but also off, is she's someone who really can educate the players that are coming up on what she just knows instinctively on the field and how to play and how to move. And I can already see like Morgan and Sophia working with her. They've done it already under Mark. So definitely for me, Sophia is a player that's going to break all kinds of records, and we're very excited to have her here as a Thorn.
And she's driven too. I was having a conversation with her last week, and she was like, I want to be the best in the world, and I want to be in a club which is here that has that mentality. And I want to remain humble, but I want to have aspirations that are through the roof. So just reiterating what Rhian's saying, and I'm sure you've heard her, but I'm just reiterating a little bit. So I think that was the point of this call, is that you guys get to know the players a bit more. But she's a player with big goals on and off the field, and I think she's a phenomenal woman.
I think, let's see, we've got a lot of good questions in here. Let's go back to Karina.
Only if it's a good question and a fun one.
I think it's an interesting, I think it's an interesting question. As you've kind of, taken on this role, what have your experiences kind of been with the NWSL Board of Governors and, in all the CBA dealings and everything that's been going on there? What have those experiences been like, and what have you learned in that process? Because obviously the CBA is a really big thing. So yeah, can you provide a little bit of insight on that?
I think as former players, the CBA is something that we're very excited about, because it's setting standards for, we think this is the best league in the world, and it's creating that pathway towards that security for players. So, I've been on different committees, and just hearing the different ways that different owners, different GMs, and everybody's thinking, it's been good, because then you get to see the full picture. And for me, learning, I'm somebody who wants to learn every single day. It's been great to just hear different perspectives and not just one way. And I think that's, in a sense, what also excites me about this league, is that the representation now at that level. You have former players, you've owners who've been in the beginning since merit, and has that clarity of like, what can I do to take the game to the next level? And then you have some new GMs like myself who get to ask questions. Whenever you walk into an environment where you get to ask all different kinds of questions, it's a place that's that has room for growth, but they're accepting of it. So I think you're seeing a lot of change right now, and you're seeing a lot of former players doing different roles. And I think that's so important for this league, because we've lived it. But I think what excites me about the future, it's the different types of voices now that are at that table, which is important, because I think there's a better representation of where we want to move forward. And I think me being here is a part of that conversation.
All right, we've got a question from Rachel for Rhian. How much of a change in formation do you expect with the change in the midfield and new players coming in?
Yeah, it's going to be a change in formation for sure. Even were I to, play a 4 diamond 2 like Mark was, just our fundamental beliefs and how things are played are different. I think I talked about it in the press conference. I really believe in using width. I use the central play to draw teams in, to use width and then get first and second waves in the box. A lot of that aligns with how Mark played and had such success with the team. But for me, definitely the formation changes have a lot more to do with stretching the field side to side, with possession with real purpose, so intent. I have a pretty aggressive style of play as well. I think also that does align with how Mark played and how he spoke. So there are a lot of similarities, but definitely there's some fundamental philosophies that are different, and structurally, like definitely some slight changes, and even how players play certain positions will look and feel quite differently under me.
Awesome. I think this is definitely a question for both of you. But what are some of your goals for the season, and what would you say success would look like to you?
Yeah, I talked to the team in Bend. We had a really great discussion about what do you tell a team that's successful like this, the Thorns? So you want to create really clear vision, clarity, the aims for the season, and we talked about it. And for us, it's winning, but winning the right way. And what does that mean? So that means a lot of process. So that means sticking to how we want to play. And there'll be sticky periods where it'll feel like we should just revert to maybe what they're most used to, or just running, just direct play. How do we consistently stay playing the way we want to, the brand of the game that we created together, but that also encompasses off the field, winning the right way off the field, connecting with you guys, the fans, making sure that we're continuing to be real community leaders. But also that fine line between real confidence and maybe taking it too far. So that's as a person, right? So winning the right way as a person. So it's a big piece, and definitely a huge goal that the team created that I was really proud of is like, it's not just the winning, it's winning the right way. And I can get behind that. And I think it really drives successful teams on. You can always get better. You know, Becky, Kling, Sink, these senior veterans we have on the team, they would have retired a long time ago if they didn't feel they were getting better all the time. And I see my job as a caretaker of that, not just them, but the whole team. Success is one piece of a much bigger puzzle. So we'll be working on that consistently through the season.
Yeah, I would just add, like, we've been having a lot of hard conversations of what success looks like. And I think everything Rhian just said, I don't think I can add more to it other than just that connection. I mean, that connection, you know, being connected as a staff, being connected as a team, being connected as an organization, being connected with the community, that connection is what makes PTFC. And that name of the Thorns is just driven by connection. So I think us just really driving home that connection piece with all of you. And that's why we're here, is because we need you to understand that you are a big part of that process. You're a big part of that that puzzle. I'm just learning how to speak and
Process puzzle.
Process puzzle. But I think it comes down to connection. Can we be connected to a whole different level, going through what we've all been through, but realizing that this is an opportunity for us to be tighter together. What's going on?
I don't know, but you
I think this question is probably for both of you. What has been your experience so far working with Merritt?
Yeah, I mean, sorry, he's been great. I think that we've got an owner who cares very much about this club. He's a passionate man who works with Karina. He comes into the office rarely to try and leave us alone. I think he'd want to be there more. He loves the game. But from my side, you know, to have an owner who cares so deeply about the team is important. And he cares a lot, but also leaves you to get on with your job. So I feel like that's why a coach is hired to coach, and he gives me that space. So my experiences arriving here have been really positive. I've really appreciated the welcome I received as well. I was made to feel very special, which is always a nice thing. And it's nice to also see that happening for other staff, but also new players that come in, and I see them, you know, light up when they walk into a locker room where they get to feel like professional athletes. And we're in the meeting room right now, and it's all pretty incredible what these players are given because of how well I believe Merritt treats us as staff, but also the players.
Yeah, I think what Rhian said right there's the feeling like a professional. I remember in 2013, I had said then, and I said, you know, Merritt was my hero. I'd gone through 2 failed leagues with WSA and WPS. Don't want to age myself because I still want to pretend I'm young. But this was it. This was bigger than I dreamt of. And now you've that next generation of kids who expect this and then some. And it was a club that, just as a young woman, it was a dream come true. So fast forward to the conversation we had before coming here. It was real, it was authentic, it was raw. There was tears, there was, you know, the hands up of what could have been better, how we want to move forward and be better. And that authenticity, I think you've gotten that by now, that's how we are. I mean, we've known each other for 16, 20 years. I don't know. She's older than me. No, she's not. But we've known each other long enough so that we came into an environment where we were like, we want to bring some of us to a place where we can add it. And Merritt's been exactly that. He's been open. He's been, honest, raw. And I keep saying that because I don't think you guys see that side of him, but he wants to make this club, the best in the world. And I think that's kind of what drives us. And what best in the world is, I think we just talked about, it's more than just winning championships. It's how do you set that bar so that a player shows up in the locker room and is like, thank you for everything that's here. How do we redefine what success in women's soccer looks like? So I think I've had a good experience with him. And I think it's why we probably have this vision clarity of where we can go with this club, because he's given us the ability to live our dreams, but in another way, create our dreams for the next generation and the players to come.
Thank you guys for that question. Stephen Duncan would like to know, I think this is probably for Rhian, what are your goals with the Challenge Cup for the team?
Yeah, winning, but winning the right way. I think there's a reality that there are a lot of new faces. There is going to be new structures. There's a lot of learning. I'm not saying those as excuses. I want to use the preseason part of this season as a preseason part of this season. The Challenge Cup is a wonderful opportunity for us to test ourselves against the teams in this league. And that's how I see it. So I'm not going to sit here and say I'm not wanting to win the Challenge Cup. I absolutely am. More importantly is how we perform in the season, and how we handle the championship at the end of that season. And the Challenge Cup has got to be a building block to that. And I can't allow the players or myself to put so much emphasis on the Challenge Cup that we miss the bigger picture. So it's a development piece, but also part of development is winning. So there's the balance I'm going to be striking in that tournament.
All right, we'll take a couple more questions here, and then we'll let you guys go. But we've got a couple new West Coast teams, expansion teams. What do you think about their addition to the league and how we might match up with them this season in the Challenge Cup early on?
I'll take the first part, and you can. But I think it's exciting when you can grow this league. It's a great market in Los Angeles and San Diego. And I think looking at that as an opportunity, that's more young women and players living out their dreams. Every time you see a team, that's a dream come true for players. So in my part of my job, I think it's exciting when we have more teams. And the West Coast is the best coast, so we get to stay on that side. From Vancouver, Canada. Canada that won the gold medal in hockey.
As if you know anything about hockey.
Yeah.
We'll try to rapid fire with some quick questions here.
Can I just say though, Katie, I think again, there's been a real movement to giving opportunity throughout the league. And you see that with Casey Stoney, Freya, you've got Jill Ellis, you've got Enia Luco with these new teams. So again, looking at this season in the NWSL as this opportunity to get like real new leadership in this league, and like a congratulations to both those new markets. And like Karina said, again, growing the game we love and giving more and more opportunity to young girls and women who dream of becoming professional soccer players.
So I'll ask a couple fun, this is a fun question, I think. What do you guys both think that the TIFO should be for opening day?
Karina.
Yeah, right now. You. That's a good question. I don't know. I wish I asked the players.
I think I won't answer that well. I think I'll leave it to those that are already making the TIFOs because they're incredible.
They're awesome. They're like, they're phenomenal. It's like the question of like, what is it going to be? I don't know. I think something uplifting for the players and just seeing us rise, and you can see this is how my mind thinks. But yeah, I think setting the tone for the season, and she's like, yeah, I don't know. I remember when I was a player, and at the end of the season, seeing that, like, it just almost makes me emotional. I think there's so much meaning behind it, but it's also showing the belief that you all have in the players. So
She's quick to cry. I think they're all incredible. Like the creativity of the fans and those that are making the art in the stadium is unbelievable. When I arrived here, I was taking pictures of all the tifos and all the signs. I think it's an amazing advertisement as well of the inclusivity that is this club and its fan base. So, love it.
and I am not quick to cry. Let's just put that out.
I think a really important question, and we asked the players this in Bend, is if you could do one Winter Olympic sporting event, what would it be and why? And I think Karina has already done some Winter Olympic sporting
I
events,
have.
right?
I have. I've done bobsleigh, skeleton, and luge because, fun fact, I did cover the Winter Olympics in Pyeongchang. I said yes to it because I'd covered the summer and I forgot how cold it was going to be. So yeah, I did those 3 and I was good. But I think to get me in the cold is I'm a Caribbean girl. So yeah.
If you meet Karina and she talks about growing up in the Caribbean and, you know, the mango she loves, and then you think, you know
Mango's
what,
nice.
we're going to have her cover the bobsled. I would be bobsledder. I'd be the third person in a 4-person bobsled. I would push the sled as hard as I could and then jump in and pray. And then you could possibly earn a medal. I think that's a pretty exciting.
And I'd be the one be like, go, yes, we got it.
That's actually not a sport,
No, but it's important. Every person in that bobsled is important.
but that's not a job. That's not the cheerleader is not-
Creating it, uplifting as we go to gold.
I like the positive
drag.
attitude and the support that you're showing there, Karina. So I think we'll wrap on that note, because I think that was a very high note to wrap on. And
That's right.
parents of who would be good at the bobsled.
Let's just say we would win. Let's just say, because we are fiercely competitive, and I mean fiercely competitive.
There's no way we would win. We'd create a
Where's the
visual
belief?
a visual TIFO opportunity. Is what we would have.
That's very fitting. That's very fitting. And just wanted to give you guys a chance to just say any last words to all the fans who jumped on here and joined us tonight and shared their questions. Just give you one last opportunity.
Yeah, I'll go first. It's never a good idea to follow Karina. First, thank you for welcoming us. I'm sorry that this is the first time we're getting to meet you. I look forward to meeting you in person. There was a group of Thorns fans who Karina and I ran into in downtown Portland a couple of days ago. I was having like a bit of a low day, and Karina, often when I'm around with Karina, I'm asked to take pictures for people with Karina, which is fine. I have no issue with that. But I was just like, oh, no, I can't. Anyway, it turns out they actually knew that I was the coach, and I sort of walked away in the middle of the conversation. And I'd like to apologize here for that. I didn't know. I thought I was going to be taking the pictures and I was just having a moment. So public apology to that. That's not what I'm usually like. And yeah, I'm a little bit embarrassed about that.
No, I think I can speak for the both of us in saying we came back here for you, and we are excited to be on this journey with you. We are excited to lead the team in different ways for you. And this is going to be an exciting season. No matter what. I mean, yeah, you can ask her for pictures. I'll smile and we'll bring her in. But the most important thing, I think, I'm really looking forward to being in person, connecting with you, hearing from you. And just, this is like the beginning of a new Jersey, because a new journey. And truly, we really are excited to do this with you. I think that's what is special about putting on that jersey. She doesn't
Are you
want
okay?
putting on that jersey with, you know, that on your heart. It's a special meaning, and we look forward to meeting you in person. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, I see a lot of people now asking about jerseys and
That's why I keep seeing jerseys, because it keeps popping up. Jersey's journey.
Yeah. I wish we had any spoilers or teasers, but I don't think anyone has in this group, unfortunately, has the recon and intel on that. So we do apologize for not having any fun information about jerseys, but I think I have no doubt they'll probably be really awesome. Just want to say thank you for everyone for joining us tonight. We really appreciate it. And thank you to both Rhian and Karina for your time.
Bye.